Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. There is something going on in this country, and we need to call it out before it is too late, because we are sitting on a time bomb. The supremacy battle between President William Ruto and his former principal assistant, Rigathi Gachagua, is a recipe for disaster. It will melt this country down. I'm saying this because of late I have seen politicians, both allied to the president and those allied to Rigathi, beating the drums of war, and they are not hiding it. If there is an era or a period that hate speech has hit its pinnacle, it is this moment. Even to make it worse is the fact that there is a body that is maintained by taxpayers' money, a body that is charged with the responsibility to ensure that Kenyans live in harmony by checking what comes from their tongue. The NCIC has become a toothless dog, or it has been compromised, because they are still there pocketing money, yet they are quiet when the allies of the president and the allies of the former deputy president are baying for each other's blood.
I want to call for the disbandment of NCIC. They have outlived their usefulness. Hizi cheche za matusi na maneno ambayo inaendelea, watu wanaambiana kabila hii kabila hile, it will not be going on if we had a functional NCIC. Wewe Reverend Kobia, together with your team, I think it is time you pack up your bags and go. You have outlived your usefulness. Una maana kabisa. Kama zamani ulikuwa unajua kuambia watu ati hatupangwingwi ni kitu mbaya, siku hizi ulienda wapi? Fuata hii mikutano ambayo inafanyika huku siku hizi, wanasiasa wanarushiana maneno ya kikabila na matusi, nyinyi mmenyamaza tu na mko kwa ofisi mnakula pesa nononono. Ama nyinyi pia ni wakabila kama huyo ambaye tulifukuza? Tafadhalini ondokeni kwa hizo ofisi ili tupate Wakenya ambao wanajua kushikanisha Wakenya wenzao na kuhakikisha kwamba kuna uwiano katika taifa letu la Kenya. Siku hizi mtu anazungumza anatusiana. Jana nimeona kanisa pale walikuwa ile maneno yanazungumzwa, hata nyinyi kanisa bana mtusaidie, because I have never seen a time such as now ambapo watu wanaenda kwa kanisa lakini ile matusi inatolewa kwa a sitting president. I have never seen such a time. Hata sisi wakati tulikuwa tumekosana na Uhuru Kenyatta, we know and we used to have limits of the things that we used to say, but watu wanaenda siku hizi na wamekaa hapo, father ati amekaa pale nyuma ama padri, na watu wanazungumza maneno ya kupotosha taifa letu. I want to call on our churches, vile mnatuambia kwamba you want to elevate the conversation. Do not allow your altars to be desecrated by politicians that are spreading hate speech, especially against other Kenyans.
Now, in the past few days, I have listened to these politicians, and they want to drag, the whole country to join their battlefield. If you listen to those who are allied to President Ruto, they are saying that they want to isolate Mount Kenya. And those who are allied to Mount Kenya are also talking in tones that only mean that they are ready for war. If you listen to Aaron Cheruiyot, he is warning the NCIC and saying that there are politicians who are disrespectful to the president. And he is forgetting that the president himself is so quiet when his allies are championing for hate speech. And I want you to listen to these two politicians, because the people, the politicians around William Ruto identified this speech. I think it is somebody called Mwango, who is the Starehe member of parliament, who made certain statements that many believe the statement is tantamount to hate speech and can lead to disastrous results. And then there is this other member of parliament, Wanyama, I think, from Western, who was speaking in the presence of the president, telling the president, urging Kenyans to rally their support so that they can isolate one region. I want you to listen to these two and tell me which one is more hate speech than the other.
We are not going to accept for one tribe to think that they have a birthright to be at State House. Wanapoingia State House, tunawapatia amani, hata kama hawawezi, sisi tunawapatia amani, wanamaliza muhula wao. Lakini kabila ingine ikiingia pale, kazi yao ni kuchokora. Hata kama mambo yanaenda sawa, kwa sababu wao ndio waliharibu, wanaleta uchochezi. Nataka kuambia hivi kupitia kwa Biblia 19, mambo ambayo hata vitina inachukiza Mungu. Na ukiwa mtu wa vitina, ujue wewe na Mungu hamuandani njia moja. Kwa hivyo nataka kusema hivi, Rais mstaafu alifanya yake, tukampatia nafasi yake, akamaliza. It cannot be business as usual. Wewe ukishastaafu, kaa nyumbani, ukae uone vitu zikiundwa. And I'm not begging him, I'm saying that is the position. Nataka wa Kenya wote mahali mlipo, mjue kwamba hii Kenya ni ya sisi wote. Na tutakubali ati baada sasa ya William, ati sasa tena hiyo mlima imeteleza na itateleza milele. Na sisi tuko hapa na mlima ambayo ni imara. Na niombe mandugu zangu wakubwa walio mbele yetu, ile Musalia Mudavadi amefanya ndio itakuwa kiboko ya hii watu. Sisi wote tukiungana mahali pamoja, na waambia, we will isolate them, it will be us against them. Na mimi sina
ya mwisho nikimalizia kitu. Wacheni tuko tunachagua mtu rais kulingana na tabia zake. Wakati wa Kenyatta, Jomo Kenyatta, watu walikuwa mashupavu sana. Wakati wa Moi, mambo ya corruption ikaingia. Wakati wa Kibaki, tukaona watu wanafanya biashara, vijana wanasoma kwa sababu ya character ya mtu venye anakaa. Wakati wa Uhuru, watu walipiga sherehe sana. Sasa kumalizia. Sasa wakati wa huyu mtu mwenye alichoma watu kwa Kiambaa, amefuatwa na damu, umwagikaji wa damu wa vijana. Kwa hivyo kama tunaangalia the next president, tuangalie mtu ako na qualities kama za Rigathi Gachagua, na mimi sioni mtu mwingine ana qualities za kuongoza hii Kenya. Ngayo amuradhibe na amwekewega, na kule Nairobi sisi tuko nyuma Gachagua 100%. Asante.
If you look at social media, like I said, those who are allied to Rigathi Gachagua are calling out that statement, and they're saying this is tantamount to disaster. Those who are around William Ruto are saying the other one is worse. But if you ask me, both of them, it should be noted that just the other day, Farah Maalim, while campaigning for William Ruto, insulted Kenyans, telling Kenyans that Ruto will be re-elected by hook or crook. William Ruto has not called him out. Rigathi Gachagua did not call out Mwango, who was speaking all those statements in his presence. And that's why I'm saying that if this is not checked, then we are headed to a period that we will regret. If you listen to people who have been to countries where that were riddled with war or by what we call civil strife or political wars, they will realize, they will tell you that it all started just like this. And before we knew it, we had groups that were being armed against each other. This happened to us in 2007. But it seems we never learned. God gave us a chance, but we never learned. And that's what I'm saying, that the two, let me just use this term, the two senior most politicians must be called out. The president must tame his dogs, because we have realized that Kenyans live in harmony. Until the politicians come to start reminding them that you are a Kalenjin and you are a Luo, you are a Kisi and a Maluya, you are a Kamba. And when they start like this, you've seen it is there are those who have joined the chorus. Look at the members of the ODM and the members of the UDA that are allied to William Ruto. They have choreographed a campaign that Mount Kenya people are entitled, that if they are not in power, that the only thing they do is to sabotage. And they are saying that even if atrocities are happening in the country, people should keep quiet, because all this happened under Uhuru Kenyatta, but no one questioned. And they say that Gachagua is leading an onslaught against Ruto only because Ruto is a Kalenjin. Those from Mount Kenya are saying that, if you listen to one, that the only people who can lead in this country are Kikuyus, if so to speak. And they're saying that Kenyatta was good, then Moi came, Moi was bad, then when Kibaki came, Kibaki was good. And they're saying that now there's a Kalenjin is bad. And they want us to get into their war. Ladies and gentlemen, it is high time we decline to dance to their tune, because I have always reminded you that from where you live, just look at the circle of your friends or your neighbors. If something happens to you today, ukipiga nduru sahi kitu inafanyika, the next neighborhood is not Ruto, is not Gachagua, is not Raila, is not Mudavadi. Where you live, you don't even have their numbers. If something happens to you today, you rush your child to the hospital and you need some money, the first person you think of is your immediate friend. They are not those politicians. Yet these politicians have already started lighting fires that will burn. And when the fire burns, when the country is burning, they are not there. I've reminded you that they live in those high-end estates. Some of their children are not even in the country. They live abroad. And when they are thinking of war, they are not thinking of their sons and daughters. For example, if William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua are thinking of war, and they want to outdo each other physically using weapons, I can assure you that Rigathi is not going to arm his children. He's not going to give his children the pangas. The youths call it mapangale. William Ruto himself is not thinking, if at all that is what he wants, and war starts, he will not arm his children. He will be looking for the vulnerable. And I speak this with a heavy heart, because when these politicians speak, they speak in front of William Ruto, in front of Rigathi Gachagua. To make it even worse, they speak this in churches, in pulpits, and the bishops and the clergy do not call them out. You've listened to them. I have just given you an example, just a sample from Ruto's side and another sample from Rigathi Gachagua's side. And they are recruiting more. Ruto is recruiting more people, more politicians on his side. Rigathi is recruiting more. And then they want us to believe that the Kikuyus are so entitled, that Kalenjins are bad. Yet these people have worked together. They want to divide people along tribal lines. They want to ban this country. NCIC do not have powers. and there is nothing they can do if the allies of the president speak. Where will you take them? The president is the highest authority. Where will you take them? Maybe they can target those who are allied to Rigathi, but those who are allied to the president, you can do nothing to them. I want Kenyans to refuse not to join. They should not join these camps. It is high time we tell them, if you hate each other so much, for example, Rigathi and William Ruto, let them fight, let them go physical, the two of them. We don't want to get into their war. And if we could decide on one accord, if any politician, whether in church or in a rally, starts speaking ill of another community, we should shun him. We should tell him off. The day we refuse to give them an opportunity, we refuse to subject ourselves, because when they do that, it is we that they are speaking to, hoping that we will join them, hoping that we will take sides, hoping that we will hate each other. When did Rigathi and this group realize that Kalenjins are bad? When 2022 they teamed up together. When did they realize that Kalenjins are bad? There were other people there was Wajakoya, Raila was there. If they knew that a Kalenjin could not rule, why did they team up? And when did suddenly William Ruto realize that, William Ruto and his people, that Kikuyus are so entitled that you cannot work with them? Why could they team up with other people? I'm telling you, all these are plans to divide us, to play their politics as usual. Today they are enemies, tomorrow they are friends. And the reason I'm crying out, I want Kenyans not to give them a platform, not to give them an opportunity, because when Kenya burns, they can easily afford some ticket and they will fly out, leaving us to butcher each other when we only have one country. Rigathi Gachagua is, do I call him a civilian now? Is no longer in a public office. And so when he speaks, he's an opinion shaper. There are very many people who follow him, but he's not in office. Yet he still needs to be very careful of what he speaks, of what the people around him speak. William Ruto, it should be even more shameful to him that politicians around him will speak ill, telling people in front of him that we need to isolate one community. Rigathi was saying that, when you see these people speak, it is William Ruto who was giving them that mandate. Ladies and gentlemen, it is high time we retreat before we plunge our country into an irretrievable mayhem. If you ever sit down with someone who witnessed post-election violence in 2007 or in any other year, and they recount to you what happened to them, you will not want to hear any politician talking about war, talking about isolation, talking about this and that, reminding you of Kiamba and all this. Let me tell you, the change that you want begins with you. Don't allow politicians to divide you along ethnic lines. There are only two tribes, ladies and gentlemen. The have and the have-nots, the rich and the poor. If someone would cheat you that you are among them, you are deluding yourself. They don't target the rich, they target the poor. The only thing that the rich will do, wataungana pamoja, they will put some money into pool to give you uende upigane na mwenzako. How I wish that we deliberately decide that we are not going to allow them. I find it sad that the people we have elected, the people we maintain with taxpayers' money, are the ones who, instead of preaching peace, are now preaching war. Though indirectly, like they put it so directly. Wanyama is saying, I'm not afraid to say so. I don't know what you think, but please let us be brothers, live like brothers and sisters, like we have always done. I don't know any other way to put it. You know, politicians don't force people to go and fight. They persuade and convince you. Why? Because you give them that room, that opportunity to lie to you, to tell you some nonsense about each other. Then next time they come, ask them why they have always worked together. Yet when they disagree, they want us to be part of it. If politicians, MPs or MCAs or all these Raila Mudavadi, Ruto and Gachagua and all those, let them fight. Wakunje tu shati waende wapigane mahali, waende hata Uhuru Park. Siti wanataka kuingiza watu kwa vita ambavyo sio vyetu. Drums of war. The perpetrators will sit back and they will be cheering you as you butcher each other. Then they will invite the US to come and negotiate for power, and they will be dishing out power when you are dead and forming reconciliatory committees. And they will be now calling the children back to the country from US and Britain and Germany when all of us are gone. Will you allow them? Is my question. Food for thought.